can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Holy on slow!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Snowman in the Morning.
Oh, yeah.
The Rams are Super Bowl champions. There, I said it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the latest and the greatest edition of Snowman in the Morning on Valentine's Day, which means I will say happy Valentine's Day to my beloved, my one and only, Jody. Cole Johnson joins me, and for once, not only was the halftime show entertaining, but the Super Bowl certainly was.
Yeah, I got no complaints because
no complaints here.
Because I got what I wanted. I wanted a game. I got a game, and the halftime show wasn't a letdown. So yeah, I was good. I was good.
So that'll put a wrap on the NFL season. Congratulations to the Rams. Congratulations to Matthew Stafford, and congratulations especially to Cooper Kupp, Super Bowl MVP. I believe he's the third wide receiver to win the Super Bowl MVP award, joining Julian Edelman and, of course, the legendary Jerry Rice for his performance in Super Bowl 23. We'll get to more of the Super Bowl throughout the course of the program. Darrell Owens from Legacy Maker Sports, mutual friend of ours, will join us in hour 1 and 1/2 of the On Tap Podcast Network. Brandon Gunn will join us in hour 2. So let me say, Snowman in the Morning is on the On Tap Podcast Network, the official morning show of the On Tap Podcast Network. Very proud of that. And we're also presented by Michael Scott Insurance. All of our guests appear via the Michael Scott Insurance hotline. Like I said, we'll break down the Super Bowl and tell all our tales of Super Bowl Sunday throughout the course of the program. But, you know, I was going to save this for hour 2, but I don't think I'm going to be able to help it. You sent me something, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And what you sent me is where we're going to start. I mean, we started every show last week with basketball, even though it was Super Bowl week and people find a reason to complain. They're like, oh, you're supposed to talk football. I did talk football, you idiots. But you sent me a picture. What was that line you say always about one Kendrick Perkins? Would you say it here for me, please?
Kendrick Perkins. Let me put this succinctly. Oh yeah, you tripping?
Because he's definitely tripping.
Oh my goodness.
We could be okay.
There's
a picture in front of me of James Harden and Joel Embiid in Sixer jerseys. Kendrick Perkins says, quote, "We could possibly be looking at the next version of Kobe and Shaq." What the were you smoking, Kendrick Perkins? See? Does he ever stop? Really? The next version of Kobe and Shaq? What? As I often say here, who told this lie? Okay. I was going to save this for hour 2, but you know me. If something's hot in my hands, I can't help it.
Oh, my. All right.
And I drink in salute to the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals for one hell of a Super Bowl and the halftime show.
Yes.
Dunkin' Donuts provides my coffee this morning, and Delight provides my caramel macchiato, and I didn't go overboard, even though it says no sugar. I got to be careful. I was late in starting this morning because I was so winded coming upstairs. But I drink and salute to the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. One hell of a Super Bowl.
Yes.
But back to this.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell was Kendrick Perkins smoking?
All right. So we can't make up our minds as to what James Harden is, right? So correct me if I'm wrong where I'm about to go, sir.
I'm ready.
All right. So Shaq was a center and Embiid is a center. And
pure center.
Yeah, pure
and
center.
I now can say that I love Joel Embiid because now he's getting it.
Oh, I do too.
I do too. Go on, please.
Okay. Now, Kobe got in Shaq's sphere right before he entered his prime, right?
Right before Shaq really dominated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he dominated like hell in Orlando, but he got to the Lakers.
Yeah. That's when he turned to me into the self he should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, Shaq got it right.
Yeah.
Moses Malone got it right.
Mm-hmm.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, don't even have to say it.
Yeah. Because I will be blunt and say that I like Shaq. I mean, I always like Shaq. Mm-hmm. But I like Shaq. When I say I like Shaq in this regard, I'm saying his game.
Yeah.
I liked Shaq's game in Orlando, but I thought it was a little too cute.
Yep.
And when he got to LA and he found that he was basically the biggest, baddest dude in the planet, and he just simply could just bully everybody, and no one could stop him. That's when I loved him.
That's when my love for Shaq grew.
Yes.
Because Phil Jackson got in his head.
Yeah. It's like, look, you should just simply lay waste to even your contemporary centers, let alone the other 4 position players. Because there's nobody in your size. There's nobody your size.
And he did.
And
he did. And then some.
And then some. So Embiid is about at that.
He's about at
that. Now he doesn't have the dominant. He doesn't have that dominant presence that Shaq has, but
he can dominate.
He can dominate, and he's about at that time where you would need to have somebody who could help him dominate.
Now I'm gonna lay a little butter on your roll here, in the words of Stacey King.
Okay.
And I know a lot of Harden fans are gonna come after me, but I don't care. Joel Embiid is about to be ruined again.
And this is where the comparison must die and end.
Did I tell a lie? Did I tell a lie? Because James Harden is about to ruin Joel Embiid just when he was making progress at center.
Now, Kobe Bryant was 17 when he was drafted.
Yep.
And, of course, when the regular season got out of the way, he was 18. But when he was drafted, he was 17.
Yep.
And
drafted by the Charlotte Hornets.
Drafted by the Charlotte Hornets.
Yep.
People miss that. Yeah. People miss that.
Why do people miss that? Go on. Go on.
Because they believe he was
we'll be in Tangent City before we know it.
Yeah. So he was drafted 17. He worked his way into basically being that dude.
Mm-hmm. He did.
In about 3 years, and by the time he was 21, he was ready to basically be the Robin to Shaq's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw
the way
the trajectory.
Scottie Pippen grew up. All right,
right.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's
almost the same time period. Almost the same time period.
Same time period that Scottie Pippen grew up. Because, quick side note about one Scottie Pippen, people don't remember. Scottie Pippen got his first start in a playoff game. He got his first ever start in a playoff game. Piece of trivia before the end of the show. See if you can name the year that Scottie Pippen got his first start and it came in a playoff game. Continue, sir.
Oh, great. I can't name it. I mean, I know it, but I can't say it.
Yeah, you darn right. I'm doing this for, I'm adding some trivia. Go ahead. Go.
Right there. So, if the comparison would be true, then that would mean that Harden would be, straight off of high school, straight out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about a 33-year-old who, from 2018, we're not even talking about from like even further back, but just from 2018 is the game of his is older.
Mm-hmm.
He's slower. He's bigger.
And he travels.
Yes, he travels, both figuratively and literally.
Yep.
Figuratively meaning that the weapon of his choice that seems to have gotten him, unfortunately, I'm going to upset my partner when I say this, Hall of Fame consideration is a travel.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he has bloated himself, and I do mean that literally, out of 2 situations in back-to-back basketball years, that means he has literally traveled. This dude is 33. This dude wants to have the spotlight on him.
Mm-hmm.
This dude did not like being a 6th man when he was one.
Right.
And
he wanted to be the man, which started the trade to Houston.
Right.
And boy, ideal.
Now, I know we will get from some idiots, but Kobe wanted to be the man too. Yeah, he wanted to be the man, but he learned I probably need to be 1A to this one.
Yep. And he also learned he needed more strength in his legs.
Yeah. That was
he
the
needed
lesson he learned this
more shot in his legs. Alex Putnam, aka A Pizzle, joining us via YouTube. What's up, Alex?
But here's the most damaging aspect of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kobe Bryant was a shooting guard, correct? That
he was.
What position player did the Sixers trade away that there's a void that Harden's supposed to fill?
A point guard.
So just from that aspect alone, Perkins comparison falls flat. Now
flatter than a pancake.
Now he's played in the NBA. He's an NBA champion. What I don't understand is why would you make that comparison when Harden, to me, is a shooting guard in point guard's clothing, 1, and 2, and we have seen it in 2 different situations recently. If he does not get his way, he's going to pout and pout and pout until he gets out of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And when the house of cards falls, guess what Harden is not going to do? He's not going to do, quote, man, that's on me. That's on me. Close quote.
He's had 2 shots to do that.
That's not him.
That's a point. He has had 2 shots to do that, and he didn't do it. Now he's in Philadelphia, where supposedly he's going to play point guard, and we all know that's a bunch of bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Because for that team to get to where they need to go, Harden is going to have to acquiesce being the alpha male.
Ooh, there's a word.
To Embiid.
And you know why I stepped in and said there's a word. You know the joke behind it. The joke behind it. A Pizzle says, "What's good, Snowman?" A Pizzle 90, I'm doing great. I had a late start to the show, but I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. A Pizzle is a Dolphins fan, and he's got a lot to look forward to. And throughout the course of the spring and the summer, we're going to evaluate every NFL team to see what they need. I just wish they hadn't fired Brian Flores, because now you got a mess coming. You got a mess coming in the NFL. Let me get something in here while we are talking. And folks, for those of you who are just tuning in, A, thank you, and B, you can catch us now via YouTube live every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, or 8:07 in this case, because I was so winded when I came up here. And I'm scrolling through, and I'm looking to get what I need to get. And I'm going to turn this into a graphic today. But Snowman in the Morning, presented in part by Michael Scott Insurance, protecting what matters most. Give Michael Scott a call, my good buddy, at 810-985-3211. That's 810-985-3211. You can give Michael Scott Insurance a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Michael Scott Insurance, he gave me something to use, and here it is. Michael Scott Insurance, home and auto, all throughout the state of Michigan. So we got fans all over the place. Had to make sure we get that in because it becomes official with Michael Scott Insurance beginning, you ready for this, Cole? March 1st.
Oh, that's almost right around the corner.
That is. Cole and Brian here with you on the Monday edition of Snowman in the Morning. And before I bring Darrell Owens in, I have to do this Hall of Fame rant. And it's a rant.
Hall of Fame rant. Okay.
Yep, Hall of Fame rant. Everybody and their grandmother and their grandfather was talking about Devin Hester should have gotten in on the first vote. No. Because, and the argument that they will use is that, oh, Devin Hester changed the game. He was a returner. Pump the brakes a little bit, will you please? First of all, Cliff Branch changed the game a lot. A speedster with hands, and this is before Jerry Rice and John Taylor, and I'll get to John Taylor in a minute.
It was criminal that they hadn't put Branch in the Hall of Fame until now.
You know what was even more criminal? A year ago, they finally put Drew Pearson in the Hall of Fame.
Equally as criminal.
There are two Cowboys that deserve to wear the number 88. The number 88 should be retired. Drew Pearson and Michael Irvin. Period.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Des Bryant, you didn't earn the number. CeeDee Lamb, give it up. Now, I'm going to piss off a lot of Cowboy fans, but I don't care. There are only two Cowboys in history that deserve to wear the number 88. Drew Pearson and Michael Irvin. Because they made, and here's a 5-letter word that a lot of people won't use, impact. Did I say something wrong?
Well, to be fair.
Okay.
To be fair, Devin Hester did make an impact. It's just, all right, here's the thing. Special teams, when it comes to Hall of Fame consideration, gets hugely slept on. I mean, hugely slept on. I mean, do we need to? Yes. Do we need to?
Guy.
Yes. That's it. Yes. That's one of them. Ray Guy. Do we need to mention Ray Guy? Do we need to mention Steve Tasker?
Oh. He
Slept
not
on.
only played offense, he was one of the best special teamers ever.
Yes. Slept on. And
so why isn't Steve Tasker getting this gold jacket?
Yeah.
Huh?
To this day, not in the Hall. Slept on.
Mm-hmm.
And he was considered one of the best special teams players ever.
Ever.
Because he was able to do kickoff and punt returns when asked to do it.
Yep.
And of course he was a gunner. So that aspect in terms of special teams, largely overlooked. So
largely overlooked and slept on, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
here's where I want to go with this Hall of Fame discussion.
Okay.
And it's a very familiar argument for people that know me. That Critical Broncos fan joining us talking about Dick Vermeil. He absolutely deserves to get in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no question.
Absolutely deserves. Okay?
That's not even a debate.
That's not even a debate. But there's a debate that remains. Torrey Holt should be in the Hall before him. I'll give you that. Part of that Greatest show on turf.
Greatest show on turf. Mm-hmm.
But there's two arguments I'm going to make right here and now about players that should be in the Hall of Fame but are not. My first argument is for one John Taylor. A. Pizzle makes a great argument. Is Dante Hall in the Hall of Fame yet? No.
That's another glaring omission because he played in the special teams.
Dante Hall should be in the Hall of Fame before Devin Hester. But you want to talk about players that make an impact, and the two guys I'm going to name, I already named one of them, which is John Taylor. You know how John Taylor worked his way into the 49er offense? He was a punt returner. When he was drafted out of Delaware State, people sleep on that. When he was drafted by Bill Walsh and company out of Delaware State, they were having trouble finding a place to put him because they still had Dwight Clark. Anybody familiar with Dwight Clark?
No, I'm not familiar with him. No, he did this catch thing in '82. Yeah, I'm not familiar with him.
Chris D's joining us via Facebook. Michael Irvin gave the number 88 to C.D. Lamb on draft night. You can turn that down. No, I'm going to double down and turn that up. C.D. Lamb should give it right back to him. I'm sorry. C.D. Lamb is a good talent, but
yes,
no, no, no to number 88 for C.D. Lamb until he earns it. Okay? I'll turn it up, way up. And Chris Dees and I are going to get into a fun argument on Thursday now that I've said that. Gave the number 88 to C.D. Lamb. Well, C.D. Lamb ought to give it back.
Which I heard. I did hear that.
Yeah, I'll be nice.
Endorsement.
I'll be nice that Michael Irvin did indeed give C.D. Lamb the number 88. Okay. All right, Chris. I'll allow that. But see, I'm talking about John Taylor and the impact he had as a punt returner and as a receiver. He worked his way into the 49er offense. You can throw the numbers at me all you want.
And that's where people will go after you.
Mm-hmm. That's where they'll attack you. And I don't care.
I wouldn't attack it. I'm with you. But if I were to argue antithetical to what you're saying, I wouldn't come at you with the stats. I'd come at you with, we only had 9 years.
Right.
That's where I would.
He spent his entire career. And where did he spend his entire career? Oh yeah, San Francisco.
That's where I would live. I'm like, you only had 9 years. Although, let's get it straight, a third of that time, he was a Super Bowl champion.
23, 24, and 29.
Yeah. But that's where I would that's what I would say. Yeah, he only played in the league 9 years.
But see, the point is, he had an impact in his 10 seasons in San Francisco. Period. He had an impact in his 10 seasons with the 49ers amidst 2 Hall of Fame coaches. 2. All right? Daryl Owens to join me here in 180 seconds.
Now, to buffer your point,
he
was a member of the 1980s All-Decade team. And he only played 3 years in the decade.
87, 88, and 89.
So there is the truth to your inertia to push him to the Hall.
Why doesn't he get the call? Why doesn't he get his deserved gold jacket?
I have said this, and I'm glad I could say this to you as a reasonable 49er fan.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1980s, it's unfortunate that whole group gets overshadowed by a few names.
Yeah.
The names that I mentioned, you know who I'm going with.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Walsh, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott. And that includes Eric Wright, that includes Randy Cross, that includes Guy McIntyre.
That includes Jim Fonhorst.
That includes
all pro tackle Jim Fonhorst.
That includes Jack Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's many names I can mention that it
Hacksaw was great with Hacksaw was great with the Rams.
Yeah.
But got better with the 49ers.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
because he played 10 seasons with the Los Angeles Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And he played 5 seasons with the 49ers before he retired.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't you know it, he got better in those 5 years in San Francisco.
And it sucks that's the case because people assign the greatness of the 49ers to those names, to Walsh, Montana, Lott, and Rice.
Mm-hmm.
It was as if
I'm not saying it's not well deserved with those names either. Not saying that at all.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Not saying that at all. That critical Broncos fan say Terrell Davis played in last years but made the Hall of Fame. Terrell Davis made an impact. Big one.
Same with Gale Sayers.
Same thing. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's criminal. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
But that's why I believe they get slept on, and that also unfortunately includes Roger Craig.
Could you say that name again, please? Could you say? And I'm waiting for Darrell Owens so we can talk about that very subject.
The reason to me why a lot of the 49ers that made that team great gets overlooked and overshadowed is because of the names of Ronnie Lott, Joe Montana, Bill Walsh, and Jerry Rice being the forefront figures of why that dynasty exists. And it overshadows every single other name that played on the 49ers, and that includes number 33, Roger Craig. And the reason why it really includes him is because people think that the 49ers is a pass only offense.
Now, see, that gets me every damn year. And that is why me and the Hall of Fame I'm on the outs with the Hall of Fame. And now joining me via the Michael Scott Insurance Hotline, one of my best buddies, my awesome friend, Darrell Owens, man in charge of the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Good morning, sir. Great to have you.
Oh, man. How you doing, brother?
Okay. Now, all three of us are on one accord, so we can just go ahead and say it. Why is the NFL, and I'll start with Darrell, continuing to screw over one Roger Craig?
Man, I mean, it's crazy, I used to think that it was the NFL thing, but it's at this point, it's got to be the writers, right? I mean, they make all the final decisions, it seems like, when it comes to this, this Hall of Fame thing. And, I'm still kind of baffled that it hasn't happened yet, especially when there's so many great players from that 49ers team that are, are in the Hall of Fame. And, just watching this final experience over the last, couple of years with, my guy, Leroy Butler, I'm so glad he finally got in,
Yes.
So that made me smile. And it was a really good, weekend. And I got a chance to text him, and you can just tell the joy. But I think I just think it's unfair that
long overdue for him.
That's just ridiculous that he has not even been, you don't even hear his name mentioned. And it's just, especially as somebody who's a pioneer when it comes to being a two-way back, I guess you can say, being able to catch the ball out of the backfield and being able, to pound the rock. And he was one of those true pioneers. And we wouldn't have a lot of the people doing the things, or, it wouldn't even be thought of if it wasn't for him.
Gale Sayers, Walter Payton, Roger Craig. When people ask me who are my 3 favorite running backs of all time, I have to leave Thurman Thomas off the list because I love him. I have
awesome.
Earl Campbell, loved watching him play.
That's
criminal. He's not in the Hall of Fame. But the one person I put on any list I put together, Darrell, you know this, and Cole, so do you, is Roger Craig. He was the first running back with 1,000 season, 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. The year, 1985. I'll come to Cole with this question, and Darrell, I want you to respond also. Why does the NFL gloss over that year in terms of Roger Craig's achievements? Cole, I'll come to you first.
They gloss over that particular year because the 49ers had a okay season. I mean, they made the playoffs. They had an okay season, but it wasn't that 1984 season where they just took the league by storm and they only lost one game. And I think if the 49ers were to have had that type of season, that 1985 campaign would be more lauded, and it should be lauded anyway, because when did you ever hear a running back have the most receptions in the year? When? Before 1985, when did you ever hear that? You haven't.
You haven't.
Ever.
Ever.
So
ever.
And you barely have had it since. So we're talking about a pioneer here, because I've always said this, and I'll continue to say this. You had Roger Craig, and he paved the way for running backs like Marshall Faulk, who is in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And just about every back we see now is cutting that same mold, where he is asked to run block. He is and pass protect. He is asked to split out wide at times. He's asked to go out to the flats.
Yep.
And he's asked to pound the rock up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That is Roger Craig. And it's unfortunate that 1985 gets overlooked because, like I said, it wasn't that dominant year that we expected.
It wasn't 15. It was 10-6. It wasn't 15.
It was 10-6, but it wasn't 15.
It wasn't 15-1.
Yeah, it was a good year, and they basically were unceremoniously pounded out the playoffs by the Giants.
By the Giants. Yep, I remember that.
So I think it was that reason as to why that particular campaign wasn't looked at as, wow, this is actually earth-shaking for Roger Craig. And it's unfair to him.
Darrell, I come to you. Same question. Why do people gloss over 1985 or Roger Craig's achievement in 1985? It's like the first back they honor with 1,000 season fully is Marshall Faulk, and that's wrong because the first one to do it was Roger Craig. Why do people continue to gloss over this?
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, it's almost like seeing people who are just like selective hearing, you know. And it's like, you know, they kind of hear what they want to hear. They want to hear the narrative they want to hear. You know, if you can just look at the Hall of Fame in the last 10 years, there's some people that I think, yeah, they deserve to be Hall of Famers. But if you really look at their careers, I'm like, okay, you know, especially like some coaches, for example. And one of my examples, and I know if you look at his overall career, you'd be like, yeah, he probably deserves to get in. But some of these coaches get in now with just one Super Bowl. You know, you know, Dick Vermeil got in this weekend. He just had one Super Bowl. Jimmy Johnson got in. He got two. You know, and then, you know, Bill Cowher got in. Obviously, you know, he won his Super Bowl. They're great coaches. They won't take anything from them. But they're not
right.
They're the Walshes. They're not the Chuck Knowles. You know, they're not the Lombardis. I mean, I feel like you got to win. You know, maybe I'm just overthinking it for a coach, but I feel like you see those type of guys get in, you know, and I feel like because the thing for Roger, for me, is just he doesn't get that press, you know, and those guys, especially those NFL Network guys or those TV guys, those guys who left the field and went to the booth, they get so much more love because they're in the media spotlight all the time. And I think that's what has, you know, the Hall of Fame has come to. And then, you know, unfortunately, I think Roger's going to get in. And when he does get in, obviously he's the Hall of Fame, you know, like they picked him because he's, you know, been way too long. You know, it's like you don't get that level of deserve to get it. But I think that, like I said, that 85 years to Cole, what Cole was saying is just, you know, because of the record. You know, you look at the record and they, you know, even though 10-6 is still a solid record, you know, you don't get that love. If that was 84, we may be saying a whole different thing. It's like a lot of that 85 Bears team, you know, that defense was great for, you know, not saying one year, but they were phenomenal for one really good year, like just amazing for that 1 year.
Right.
And how many of those guys made the Hall of Fame because of that 1 year? You know what I'm saying? You know, and I think that's the kind of, you know, or have been recognized or get that love because of that. And I think that's what it kind of goes to.
Darrell Owens joining us via the Michael Scott Insurance Hotline, talking Hall of Fame omissions. You know, Darrell, everyone was jumping on the Devin Hester bandwagon and a couple of others. And all I say is, why is there no love for Roger Craig and the impact he had? In fact, Cole said it before you rang in this morning. And it's going to sound like I'm paraphrasing, but I'll repeat his sentence. That 49er team was loaded for the 80s. That's why they were the team. That's why they were the team of the 80s. I'll mention the second name, and I'll let Darrell weigh in, and I know he'll go off on this one. Not only Roger Craig, but where's the love for John Taylor?
Exactly. I mean, it's, when I think of this 49ers team, like the franchise, especially in the 80s, I think of like Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Steelers teams in the 70s, I feel like everybody on that team made the Hall of Fame. Everybody that was in a prime position, Frank, Stallworth, Swan, everybody that played a very important role. I mean, they all played important roles, but the main people, the names, if you heard names on that list, you're like, oh yeah, that person right there. Like everybody on those Steelers teams, they got like maybe like 10, maybe 11 Hall of Famers just out of that decade. So when I go back and look at the 49ers team, I feel like that same vibe. Even the Packers teams from the 60s.
Yes.
There's a lot of players from the 60s that they were just on that squad, and they're like, oh, they were so great during that era. They're in. You know what I'm saying? And if you look numbers-wise, they're like, well, maybe not so great. You know what I'm saying? But they were so critical to the championship runs. And that's why I say, you look at a Roger Craig, you look at a John Taylor. Those guys were so critical to the championship runs, but they don't get the same love. So, and I guess you could even say some of the Dallas teams in the 90s, but it's weird to me, and we're seeing it now with the Patriots.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Richard Seymour or the Ty Laws, but I'll be honest with you, when I first, this is maybe me as a fan, I'm like, Ty Law, Hall of Famer. Yeah, maybe. Somewhat, But I mean,
Ty Law, and I'll pose this question to both of you gentlemen, and I'll pose it to the public at large. And I'm hoping John is still tuned in. He brings up two great players that should be in the Hall of Fame: Earl Campbell and Kenny Easley. Kenny Easley was an absolute monster with those Seahawk teams in the 80s.
Well, people sleep.
People sleep so hard on Kenny Easley. Okay, so if you judge a Hall of Famer by numbers, which is what they have done lately, why aren't they judged by impact? Why aren't they judged? I'll go ahead and say it correctly. Call your first.
And Darrell, I'm so glad you mentioned the Patriots, because that's what I was about to head.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was about to head. Because I remember saying when it got to be about 2014, 15, I said, okay, now's the time we're going to start seeing the slow trickling in of those Patriots teams.
Yep.
Members of those teams being Hall of Fame members. Law's already in, and this year will be Richard Seymour. So we're starting to see that happen now. And a point of clarification: Earl Campbell is a Hall of Famer.
Okay. Campbell isn't. Okay, they got that one right.
All right. The reason why I believe people don't go for impact as much is we now live in an era where it is very Twitter-like. It is all about the Janet Jackson song, "What Have You Done For Me Lately?" And along with that, did it come with a ring? And then along with that, did it come with a lot of stats that you accumulated along with the ring? And you see, and that type of thought process will gloss over and overlook and basically ignore John Taylor with the only catch in Super Bowl 23 for him, the one that actually was the game-winning touchdown catch in the biggest game in 1988.
Okay, did you say game winner?
Yes.
I could have swore you said game. Darrell,
Yes.
did he say game winner? Did I hear that right?
I think you were correct. I heard a game winner on there.
Wait. Hold up. He said game winner. Okay.
Yeah.
John Taylor only had one catch for 10 yards
And
it was the most important catch of the game.
It was the biggest catch of the game.
It was the biggest. It was the biggest catch of the game. Darrell, why don't people look at that also? He may have only had one catch in the Super Bowl, but doggone it, it was the biggest catch of the game. Come on.
It's crazy to me, like you see, just like I brings back to my point, you see all of these decade teams, the teams that rule that decade.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I mean, we've talked about it in the past, like, I don't think there's enough 49ers in the Hall of Fame from those teams. And
they're not.
Right.
It's not.
It's just not. Because all the other teams of the decade have those, like they're like they get that, and like we're seeing it with the Patriots now. So like it's just really weird to me. But for you to make those plays and continue to make those plays on a really good team, just kind of blows my mind. I mean, but I was thinking about something, and I heard y'all say this about impact, but like you see, there's players that impact the game and they change the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I know I may catch a lot of grief for this, but there's one player in my mind, especially in this new age of football, or at least the quarterback position, that you look at impact and you say, well, is he a Hall of Famer? And most people say no immediately because of, maybe outside stuff. And that's Michael Vick.
Yeah.
Michael Vick changed football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, changed football. The mobile quarterback is a thing because of Michael Vick. No disrespect to Randall Cunningham, because we know what Randall could do. We know what he can do. But pocket quarterback was a thing. It still is a thing. But being a mobile quarterback, being able to throw on the run, being able to be loose, to be elusive, and he's always one person that I think, like, you see him and say, well, Michael Vick's done a lot for the game. Obviously, with all the other stuff outside, he's done so much for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of how, like, Steph Curry is, in my opinion, in basketball, because Steph has changed the game where you would have never seen kids shooting shots from, wherever. I mean,
yeah,
wherever. And so I think those type of players, you have to, even if in some aspect, you got to look at it. I mean, yeah, they may throw them into a display or something in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, this person changed the game. I mean, this is 2001, and we're 20 years since Vic drafted, and look at what he's done for the league. But he'll never get recognition.
I'll say, I can counter that with why.
Here's why, and it's two reasons actually. The first, people will not forget the outside stuff. And it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's going to be assigned to Bad News Kennels, and if he were to have a bronze bust in Canton, that is exactly what people would say. Oh, Bad News Kennels guy. No, we can't have him. He hates dogs. He kills them. No, we can't have him. Pro Football Hall of Fame doesn't want that, and that's unfortunate for Vic, but that's just what it is. The other aspect, which is on the field, the furthest he went was an NFC Championship appearance.
Right.
And he never took a team to the Super Bowl. So getting the imprisonment out the way.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at a quarterback who, I agree with you, Darrell. He did change the league. He did change the game because it made people in NFL actually take notice and draft guys who could run the ball. And look at who we have now at the quarterback position. I mean, you could look at Lamar Jackson and say, well, that's him there, but you could say the same thing about Josh Allen. You say the same thing about Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Absolutely.
You can even in a smaller way say the same thing about Justin Herbert. And it's all because you had a Michael Vick who challenged the norm of what the quarterback position in the NFL is supposed to look like.
And speaking of challenging the norm, a left-handed quarterback before Vick was Steve Young.
And to me, if Vick actually did what Young did, and he was on the, and this is what upsets me. Yeah, this is what upsets me about Vick, Darrell.
Right.
He was on his way to doing that, but because of the style that he played with, the pounding he took with being the squashbuckler and runner, it just wore on his body, and the time ran out. But when he was in the Eagles, the second year of the Eagles, That was the best he ever played at quarterback, and he looked like he was going to take off from there.
And he learned to play the position. I always say this, and I said it about Steve Young so many times. He was a runner because he was always running for his life with the teams that he played with, including the Los Angeles Express of the USFL.
Toss back.
Did I give you a flashback, Darrell?
Los Angeles Express. Yep, I remember those teams.
The LA Express, the Houston Gamblers. I got to remember. Look, Steve Young versus Jim Kelly, and they played twice. All right? Los Angeles, the Express versus the Gamblers, and then the Bills versus the 49ers in 1992. All right?
Both of them were stellar games. Both of them.
And
I'm sorry.
The game in San Francisco, no punts.
Yes. No punts in that game, yep.
Hall of Famers. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that whole game was full of Hall of Famers. All right? But I said it about Steve Young from his days with the Express and his days with the Buccaneers and subsequently the 49ers. Vic was on his way to learning to play the quarterback role like Steve Young did. Steve Young learned it. Who was his tutor?
Oh, Andy Reid. Oh, I'm sorry. The tutor for Young was obviously Bill Walsh.
Mm-hmm. And on the field, who was his tutor? Montana. And come on, y'all. Let's. I'm gonna take us on the tangent road here. Come on, y'all. Let's stop the talk of Tom Brady being the greatest of all time. Okay? Can we just stop? Tom is terrific. Don't get it twisted. All right? You'll never see another quarterback do what he did for 22 years.
Yep.
But who is his idol?
Joe Montana.
Who was the first to win 3 Super Bowl MVPs before Tom Brady took it over? Who was the first to win 3 Super Bowl MVPs?
It would be Montana.
Gotta be Montana.
Okay, and there are 2 numbers, and I've always said this, that would put Montana a slight over Brady. They're the same number, 0. 2 stats. No Super Bowl losses and no Super Bowl interceptions. I love you, Tom Brady, but doggone it, if you go to the Super Bowl 4 times and you win 4 times,
and you play perfect
and you play perfect offense, and you set record after record in all 4 Super Bowls, because remember, before Kurt Warner set the record then for yardage in a Super Bowl game, you know who held it? Mr. Montana. You know why that got overlooked? Because Jerry Rice caught 11 passes for 215 yards.
Yeah.
Okay? What did Mr. Montana do? And that was the only reason that Rice got the MVP and not Montana.
Montana. Mm-hmm.
Okay? Rice was the MVP of Super Bowl 23. Just as Cooper Kupp was last night. You know what Jerry Rice did? 11 catches, 215 yards, 2 scores. Let me repeat that. 11 catches, 215 yards, 2 scores. That was Super Bowl 23. Okay? So, and I bring all those stats up to bring this up. You know how many yards Montana threw for in that game in Super Bowl 23? Before Kurt Warner broke the record in Super Bowl 34, Montana held the record for the most yards in a Super Bowl game. That number, 357.
Well, you know,
let me repeat that. 24 of 36, 357 yards, 2 scores. And it was a teammate of his that got the Super Bowl MVP in the legendary Jerry Rice.
Well, you know, that was the greatest of all time who threw for over 500 yards in the Super Bowl game.
And who gives 2/5 of a rat's ass? Because he lost.
There we go. I was about to say. Go to the most important part.
The most important thing of Tom Brady throwing for 500 yards in a Super Bowl, he lost the game to a backup quarterback by the name of Nick Foles. And by the way,
Yes.
Nick Foles was a Super Bowl MVP. Was the Super Bowl MVP.
At the 2-minute warning, Mr. Brady went
and coughed it up. I'm sorry. There will not be another quarterback that put up the numbers that Brady has put up. I understand that. I get that. I dig that. But I come back to the question of who is his idol?
So Cole and Snowman. So what you're telling me, from what I'm hearing from this,
yes, sir.
Montana is Jordan, and Brady is LeBron.
You goddamn right.
Man, I wish you could see the mashed potato. That's right, brother. That's right, brother.
That's
Yeah.
what
Montana
That's what
equals
it is.
Jordan, and Brady equals you know who.
But let's. I mean, if you're comparing it, the two sports, Montana and Jordan were perfect. I mean,
Can you say that sentence again, please?
People look.
Can
at
you
it, but
say that sentence again, please?
I mean, Montana and Jordan were perfect. If you look at the performances, during these games, not saying obviously they didn't go like 30 for 30 or whatever, but
Right.
they were perfect in these performances. They didn't, falter in any of these championship performances. And I always hate when people's like, well, championships don't mean anything. They obviously do. And I'll tell you why.
Right.
As a Packers fan, I don't care how great Aaron Rodgers is statistically during the regular season.
Bang!
Multiple Super Bowls. Until you get multiple Super Bowls, you're just the one. He's got a Super Bowl, and people still are like,
Yeah, and that's the point,
not
Darrell. A
You my
Super
man, Darrell,
Bowl.
for that. You my man for that, baby.
A
Yes.
Super Bowl. A Super
Yes.
Bowl.
That's been the
Thank
one
you.
thing I have said to many of your Packers brethren who act like
Same
Bronx
here.
Sexuals.
Same here.
as a Packers fan, I'm logical. I'm green. So
And
y'all know.
I love that about
I do too.
you, Darrell. I got to share this funny story about Darrell. Darrell invited me 2 years ago onto his program to talk NFC Championship, and at that time it was Packers 49ers. I was on that show for a good 40 minutes, and Darrell begged me all 40 minutes, don't do it to me, Snowman. Don't do it.
I told him, look, man, it's one of those things, I know my Packers team's limits. I'm not unbelievable. Yes, people say, "Oh, you're not a real fan." No, I'm a logical fan.
Thank you.
I think
Yes, they exist.
I say to myself, like, watching Aaron Rodgers, I know he's great. I know this, but when you get judged on your postseason accolades, so when people say championships don't matter, and even though he's got a ring,
A ring.
matter. You know what I'm saying? Like Dan Marino probably.
Oh my Lord.
Dan Marino gets looked at like, well, okay, whatever.
Mhm.
Charles Barkley just looked like, okay, whatever. Guys who were amazing in their day don't get the same love because they don't have a ring. You know what I'm saying? Like Reggie Miller probably is one of the most, if not the most clutch, big time shot makers, best 3-point shooters. But guess what? Guess what he doesn't have that Ray Allen and Steph Curry had?
A ring.
He doesn't have a ring. And even if he had got his ring in mop-up duty, he would still probably get more love than what he's getting because he doesn't have one. So when people postseason doesn't matter, yes, okay, I can't agree with that because you get looked at for what you do. You get looked at for winning championships.
Yes. Yes.
They look at you differently. I don't care how good you are. I just don't care how good you are. They look at you differently if you don't win a championship.
For example, so now Rodgers has 4 MVPs. Brady only has 3.
Right.
So
But guess what career people would want to take?
Give me that Brady career all day.
give me that Brady career all day long.
Thank you.
He could have won in one. Just give me the chips.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
100.
Thank you. Barbershop Jay is tuning in, and he said, Barbershop Jay, dear friend of ours, dear friend of the show, tuning in,
Yes.
said,
Love
quote,
Jay.
indeed, Brady is Braun. Thank you, Barbershop Jay. Doggone it.
Love you,
Brady
Jay.
is
Love you,
Barbershop Jay. Love you for that. Got to get some IDs in here. We owe you an ID because we are now at the top of the hour, 4 minutes after the top of hour 2, enjoying ourselves with Darrell Owens, Brandon Gunn at the bottom of this hour. Snowman in the Morning, presented in part by Michael Scott Insurance, protecting what matters most. Give him a call today at 810-985-3211. For those of you in the state of Michigan, 810-985-3211. Give him a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The ID you need is at Michael Scott Insurance. Michael Scott Insurance, home and auto, state of Michigan. And thank you to Michael Scott Insurance for breaking the wall and being our first sponsor. That becomes official as of March 1st. But we're showing him a lot of love today. Darrell Owens with us via the Michael Scott Insurance hotline. And I'll repeat a line that Darrell just said that's going to piss off a lot of Brownsexuals and piss off a lot of Bradyites, but bring it on. Michael Jordan equals Joe Montana. Tom Brady equals LeBron James. Because if you're perfect, you don't lose in the finals. You don't lose in the Super Bowl. Okay, I was waiting to see how far Brady would take it after he brought his team to a walk-off field goal in Super Bowl 36. Mm-hmm. And that playoff season, and I know Darrell's going to get a laugh out of this, was aided by a rule that was abolished right after the game. A blankety-blank tuck rule. Yeah. Ray Lewis said it on a... Ray Lewis, love you, Ray Lewis, for saying this aloud, said, quote, does Tom Brady get there without the tuck? Hell no, he doesn't get there. That was a clean strip from minute one. And if I can find the call with Greg Papa from 2001, I'd use it. See, both of these gentlemen with me on the hotline said impact. Does this play from January 22nd, 1989 qualify as impact?
Rice has just set a Super Bowl record with 12 catches. He's in motion. Montana, touchdown, John Taylor.
I believe it does. How does Dick Enberg say it? Touchdown, John Taylor. Everybody was looking at Jerry Rice in that play. Montana was the only one on that field looking for John Taylor. Oops.
And Rice was smart enough when he was in motion. He basically said, "Oh man, they ain't switching. All eyes on me."
Yep.
They're sunk.
They're sunk.
He was running in motion. Yeah.
So
everybody paying attention. Everybody, Darrell, you know this play ultra well, just as Cole does, just as I do. Where were all the eyes on that play?
On Jerry Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Where was Montana's eyes on that play?
John Taylor.
Yeah.
And the bad part is Cincinnati didn't pick it up that John Taylor was in a 3-point stance on the line.
Yeah.
But I got another one for you, Snowman.
Talk to me.
I'm gonna bring it back to the Jordan.
Bring it.
All eyes on Jordan.
All eyes on Jordan, baby.
All eyes on Jordan. And who's there chilling in the wings? Mr. Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr.
Out there. I mean, you know when it's time. You know, like those great guys know when they need to, make the decision to, give a great teammate an opportunity to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
I knew, like you said, Jerry Rice was always going to be Jerry for sure.
Yes.
And what I love about what you just mentioned, Darrell, those great players, they know if they were to run certain plays,
yep,
that it might come around where they do it again, and all the attention's on them, and they know it, and they want it.
Yep.
So they love the fact that they are a decoy, or they love the fact they are the setup man. And so,
the setup man, love it.
Yeah. So Rice in January '89 was that way, and of course Jordan in June of '97. That's what he was, because Brian and I have talked about it during the time up before that play. Jordan basically said, "Look, I know Snyder's going to drop down to you and basically double me, and if that happens,
Steve Kerr completed his thought. Steve Kerr says, "I'll be ready.
I'll be ready." And what I loved about that particular play was that Jordan set that up long before.
Beautifully. He set it up 2 games before.
Mm-hmm. Because he actually took the ball and went to the lane and got a layup. So people were thinking, okay, well, we just crowd the lane so Jordan won't get access to the hole. He's like, well, I got something for you on that.
And
that's what I love.
The greatest part was after Game 4 of that series, we're talking 1997 NBA World Championship. After Game 4, who was the first person to console Steve Kerr?
Oh, Jordan.
Yep. And bringing it back to Darrell's point, people say Jordan wasn't a great teammate. I call bullshit on that, because when you miss 2 big shots to give your team a 3-1 lead, and your captain is the first to put his arm around you and say, "You'll have another opportunity. You will get another chance." Darrell, I shudder to think that would mean something.
It does. I mean, but those great guys, those great all-time players, always, find a way to bring the best out of their teammates. I mean, it may on the outside look like that they're the worst person in the world. It may look like they're the worst person in the world, or now in retrospect, as we watch Last Dance and all that stuff, they may look like a different person. But, if you go back and you listen to what the players actually say about these guys, eventually, and I'm Scottie Pippen minus Scottie Pippen.
Look, Scottie Pippen is trying to sell books. He's trying to sell liquor.
Right. That's
He's
it.
Trying to make sure.
That's
he's trying
it.
to make sure you forget. He's trying to make sure you forget
knows.
his wife wanted to go out the future.
Scottie knows where his bread is buttered. He's just trying to sell everything right now.
I didn't know he got paid. The real reason why he got paid.
Mm-hmm.
He wants you to forget that his wife wanted to go out the future.
Oh.
Hey, no lie there. Hey,
no lie.
No lie there. No lie there. I'm not. Hey, no lie there. And I'd be a little angry. I'd be a little angry too. And note, I put the word "little" in quotes. Let's talk a little basketball while we have Darrell Owens here. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna have fun since we mentioned we equalized Brady with LeBron. Mm-hmm. Saturday night in San Francisco.
All right.
LeBron had a chance to tie the game.
Oh, we're going here. Okay.
I'm going here first.
Okay.
LeBron had a chance to tie the game, and I'm cussing on a Monday, and I'm sorry about that.
It's early in the week, though, man.
When one of my best friends says it's too early in the week, but see, you make one of the first two. 117, 115. Why did you put up a high arcer for the third free throw? Darrell, did I miss something with that third free throw?
No, I mean, watching LeBron here, I don't know. It's LeBron. I got to get this disclaimer out of the way. Y'all, I'm a Miami Heat fan. So
yes.
I will always say thank you for the 2 championships. It wasn't all him, but I will say thank you for being a part of them. Thank you for helping the Miami Heat as a franchise grow to an extent, but you also damaged the franchise. I'm not going to get into that as well because that's going to make me upset. But we didn't have draft picks for a lot of years because of LeBron James. A lot of years.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize, yes, LeBron does a lot for your team, sales wise and all that stuff. But then your team also takes a major hit sometimes. Thank God we had a great mind in Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra that we had to kind of rebuild that thing to get it back to where it is right now.
Yes.
I don't know. I know we're still 1 seed because I haven't checked it in a couple of days, but I know
they are. They're still the one.
They're still the one.
But they got a hard charging Bulls team coming after them.
That is also true. Now you look at those two teams that are in top of the East, and right now, and you said what's the common denominator? Former LeBron James team.
Yep.
That had to kind of get over. They had to kind of get over the hump there and get themselves back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland looks amazing. I mean,
yes, they do.
They do look amazing.
When it never said in 100 years, I thought that Cleveland team would come back to where they are right now. But it took a lot to see. LeBron left in 16, 17, and it's taken
18.
18. So it took them 4 years to get to this point. And working through the draft and trading this piece and moving this piece and top the picks to get back where they are. Miami didn't even have that. We traded everything for him. So him taking that shot, and I know that I just had to get that out of the way, but him taking that shot, it just it's like it once again shows me, he's always been one of those guys that kind of like it's like when you think he's going to take over the game, he doesn't. And there's time. I'm not going to say he's never taken over a game. Let me clarify that, because I know people will be like, "Well, wait a minute."
No, preach, preach, please.
You remember the Detroit game? I ain't gonna take that away.
Preach, please.
Can't
up in the clutch. But see, that's when you look at guys like Jordan. You look at guys like Kobe. They had that killer instinct that said, look, no matter what's going to happen here, I'm going to find a way.
to will this team to victory.
Yep.
Team to a victory. I don't have to go get Russell Westbrook. You didn't need Russell Westbrook.
Thank you.
To be honest with you, he ate right now.
Oh my Lord. All sorts of fun today with Darrell Owens via the Michael Scott Insurance Hotline. And would you say that again? They didn't need or have to go get Russell Westbrook. You didn't need that. You didn't need him.
Just won the championship 2 years ago. 2 years. They just won the championship a year and a half ago. That way, you didn't need him. This is a prime example of being greedy. You went out there and got Westbrook, who everybody knew from the beginning this was not a match. Everybody knew it wasn't a match. The only time he had to come home to LA. Okay, well that's fine and dandy, but you come home to LA and this is what we got. I know. To be honest with you, I wish he'd stayed in Washington because I thought he was actually doing a really good job in Washington. He got him to the playoffs, and him and Bill were kind of starting to connect towards the end. And
they were building something.
Dynamic. It worked a little bit better. So then you come here, and now you have to, you got AD who's always hurt, and then the only time Russell has actually shined, and I think you guys agree, is when neither one of them are on the court, and it's just him.
Yep. Right. Absolutely right.
He's been
that's a problem.
Right, and that's the problem. And now they can't even trade him. They tried. They were praying somebody was going to come and get.
But every team in the NBA is like,
We ain't gonna take their problem.
If y'all remember the show What's Happening, every other team in the NBA was like Dwayne.
They were like, no, we enjoying the show in LA. We want it to continue.
Listen, I got the perfect sound. I'm gonna go old school. Russell Westbrook being traded turned into this. Every team taking a call from the Lakers, they were begging for a trade partner, went like this.
What is it, man?
And then when the day went by, I got to echo a little Ken the Hawk Harrelson.
You can put it on the board. Yes.
Nobody took Westbrook, which finished with this. Mr. Barkley.
That's terrible.
I had to get all those in.
I
loved it.
I'm
I loved
enjoying.
it.
I'm enjoying all of this because of all the ridiculous takes that I've been hearing. As like, look, I'll throw a free minute of
Okay.
Bronx Confessions. So
Go.
I was perusing social media and I saw this post. I still can't believe I saw this.
God, what'd
And
you
it was
see?
something. It was something to the effect of, well, Jordan was not a good teammate, but LeBron would be considered a better teammate because he would elevate his teammates, and that actually came from a post that posted a picture of Tracy McGrady saying that, because basically he was saying that
Okay,
Jordan,
first of all, who
all
the
he cared
hell let
about-
Tracy McGrady lose? Second of all, who the hell let Tracy McGrady in the Hall of Fame?
Wait a minute, I let him loose.
So
Darrell, I haven't had you on in a year and a half. I'm cutting loose, okay?
So basically, Tracy McGrady quoted as saying, "Well, if I would have a choice of who I would draft on team with LeBron, because those like Jordan and Kobe, they didn't care about anybody else. They want to get their 30 and 40.
That's some grade A
Meanwhile,
homogenized Holstein bullshit, and it's been proven.
Meanwhile, you have LeBron who can elevate teammates.
Elevate teammates, my ass. Where was that Saturday night?
And all I could do was laugh, and I actually said the following quote.
Oh boy, bring it.
Quote: "If it is true that LeBron can elevate players with lesser talent, then explain Russell Westbrook."
Oh,
close quote.
Explain Anthony Davis. Explain
I'm
Carmelo Anthony.
If there isn't a bigger misnomer about LeBron James's game, it's that. I'm like, no.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Because these fools will lament, well, LeBron didn't have help. Well, if that's the case, I thought he was able to do all these wonderful, fantastic things at 37.
I'll put
if
a
that's
pin.
the case,
I will put a pin in that. I'll put a pin in that for Wednesday. Brandon Gunn tuning in. He's due in about 14 minutes. And my beautiful daughter, Alexis McCrae, is watching via Facebook. Alexis, your mother and I miss you. Morning. She says, morning, Pops. Morning, Lexi. We miss you. I'm going to go here. And Darrell, I know your reaction. Cole, I know yours. When I say, I had a conversation with a bronsexual.
See, I almost cursed, man.
Almost cursed, man.
I had a conversation with two bronsexuals.
Oh, what the?
So you know I got a headache and a half, right?
I got a headache and a half for you. Okay, so you had a conversation with two bronsexuals.
I had a conversation with. It started with one. It became two, and it nearly became three.
Oh no!
There's a picture that I sent to you. The next MJ
Lord.
with a jersey of Harold Miner, you see Jordan smiling. Next MJ, Grant Hill, Jordan smiling. Next MJ, Kobe Bryant, Jordan smiling. And these idiots had the nerve to put the next MJ with LeBron James, and they got a Jordan crying meme. That pissed me off.
Oh man.
That pissed me off. I'm going to save a lot of this for Wednesday. When I start the program, I'm going to save a lot of that for Wednesday.
Doggone, why'd you have me laugh this hard already on a Monday morning?
Oh, I'm just getting started.
That's the biggest joke I've heard all year.
Look, I'm just getting.
Gosh.
Alexis, you know how I feel, and I can hear my daughter in my head right now saying, "Cut the damn music."
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Just,
I said this bronsexual, who I will not name aloud, said LeBron is way better.
Oh my gosh.
My first response to this bronsexual was, Who the hell told you this lie? Wow. Bronsexual responds, where's the lie? LeBron is better than MJ. That's the lie.
The lie starts with that picture. Lord have mercy.
That's crazy to me.
The bronsexual responds, can't show me why he isn't. Now, my response, gentlemen, will make you both smile when I said, quote, MJ has had a bigger impact in 13 and a half seasons than LeBron has had in 18 and a half seasons, close quote. Darrell, find the lie in that statement.
There's no lie. And my thing is that I always the thing that bothers me about the LeBron Jordan, and it'll bother me until LeBron retires or whatnot.
Same here.
Comparison is it's not even the proper comparison.
It isn't.
Thank
you.
I said ever since he got into the league.
Same.
Yes.
Same.
Kobe, it always should have been Kobe and Michael, and it was until LeBron got in the league.
Until LeBron got in the middle of that. Yeah. Because the closest you can come to MJ was Kobe Bean Bryant.
Exactly. And then the real comparison, LeBron to me, would be Magic.
Magic Johnson. Yes,
sir.
Magic Johnson.
Sir. All day, I have said that. Yes.
It's size, it's the style. It's the way the way LeBron plays the game. I'm saying it's kind of similar to Magic's now, but that's why I say I don't understand it, because Killer Instinct, Kobe and
MJ.
Jordan.
All day.
Passive,
all day.
Take over the game, could do these things. Magic and LeBron. That's why I never understood the comparison. I'm like, it's not. That's why I hate it, because it's like you can't compare the to an extent. Yes, LeBron has all the stats. He has 5 more years. LeBron has all the accolades. I know he just passed Kareem for most points all time in NBA playoffs.
I'll put a pin in that for Wednesday. Oh dear Lord, I'm gonna go off on. I'm gonna warn y'all right now. I'm gonna go off on Wednesday with that point, because my inbox got flooded. Continuing on with this conversation with two bronsexuals. I said, there's more. You know what my sentence got responded with? This bronsexual said, and I'll repeat my sentence, MJ has had a bigger impact in 13 and a half seasons than LeBron has had in 18 and a half seasons. You know what that got responded with? Opinion. Take your opinion, take your word opinion and shove it up your ass. I said, no, that's not opinion. That's fact. Oh, and then, as Cole has said to me, and on his fabulous show, Cole Sports on the Daily, I said, this is fact. When you point out a fact to bronsexuals, they go to name calling. This bronsexual responds with, quote, oh, so you're slow. It's definitely opinion. Close quote.
The Jordan crying face meme with LeBron suggesting that he's the next Jordan, that is opinion.
That's
day.
That's all day opinion.
Well, if he's going to come at your neck, that's funny.
Well, the funny thing, if you look at it now, they use a Jordan crying meme. Where are the LeBron memes at? Like, Jordan is so powerful.
What?
Jordan is so powerful.
Where are the LeBron? Where are the LeBron memes? Where's the LeBron meme from Saturday night?
No.
Wait a minute. I got one. Where's the LeBron meme from Saturday night when he put up a high arcing free throw with his foot in the lane?
No. I already got that for you. So one time I actually put forth a pic that I used in one of my videos of LeBron crying.
I think I remember that.
I kid you not.
Yep.
I had one less subscription because of it on YouTube. Bronsexuals can't handle a LeBron crying meme. I already know.
You need to send me that meme, because I want to use it. When I really get going with this production, I want to use it.
They can't handle LeBron.
I want to use it. Will Otero joining us on Facebook, checking out the festivities, says, quote, LeBron didn't have to face Magic, Bird, Dr. J, and the Bad Boys. This coming from a Knicks fan. Close quote. Thank you, Wise.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's right. He didn't have to handle them either.
You didn't have to handle. Look, LeBron didn't have to handle Charles Oakley, Xavier McDaniel. And you know what? I've had.
Oh my gosh.
I've had a show, and we've had Darrell Owens for nearly an hour. We got Brandon Gunn coming in a few minutes. I may as well just finish with everybody on the line here. Listen, there have been many times that Cole and I have listed forwards that have played better than LBJ. I'm going to say a name that not only will make Cole Johnson smile, but it'll make Darrell Owens smile. That name is Tom Chambers.
Oh, Tom Chambers.
I'll say it again. That name is Tom
basketball player.
Chambers.
A straight up complete basketball player. Yes.
Tom is tough as they come, man. Tough as they come, man.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to tell me that Tom Chambers was not tough, you're gonna get cussed out.
Somebody done told you wrong, as Big Boy said one time.
Man, Tom Chambers was one of the tough. And listen, this is a fellow that loves Barkley, Oakley, Mailman, and the like. Julius Erving was my first favorite basketball player. But when I saw Tom Chambers, I saw one of the most complete players ever to play in the NBA. Period. I saw one of the most complete players to ever play. You know what? And this is also for Wednesday and possibly Friday. Gentlemen, answer this question for me. What's one thing that Tom Chambers has that LeBron doesn't have? I believe Cole already knows the answer. I'll answer it.
Defensive slam dunk championship.
No.
Darn. I thought it was that. Okay.
I was going
to say that a defensive player of the year. That's what I was going to say.
Listen, we'll get into all of that before we close up shop today. What's one thing that Tom Chambers has that LeBron has never had?
Well, definitely a slam dunk appearance.
Mm-hmm. True.
But I know that's not what you're talking about.
Nope.
But go ahead, sir.
Nope. Will Otero, Suns was my team in early video games because of Tom Chambers. Damn straight. I played a lot of video games. I played a lot of NBA video games with one Tom Chambers, okay? And I love Jordan. Now, what's the one thing that Tom Chambers has that LeBron James has never had consistently? In three words.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
What did you say?
I said a jump shot.
There it is.
Sir. I'm so sorry, sir.
Darrell, did I lie anywhere? A jump shot.
A jump shot.
I'm so sorry, sir.
Tom Chambers had.
I did not mean to steal on them.
No, that's fine. I love when you do. Tom Chambers had a jump shot. Let me repeat my sentence. Tom Chambers had consistently a jump shot.
Oh, my.
Did I lie anywhere in saying that? In saying that Tom Chambers had a jump shot?
Not in my eyes.
Darrell, did I lie anywhere?
No, I don't think you did. So I think, here's the thing. When we look at it like this. LeBron James is an amazing player. We're not. I think people need to. LeBron James is an amazing player.
Mm-hmm.
No one says that LeBron is not a good player.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Problem comes down to same dream with Cowboy fans to an extent. Not all Dallas Cowboys fans, but some Dallas Cowboys fans. Majority of Cowboys.
Stafford!
Like,
Stafford!
Well, you ain't. I know this is coming from a Packers fan, but you ain't telling a lie though, bro.
No, that's why I'm laughing.
I
He's
live with
not
many
telling.
of them in Houston. I live with many of them in Houston, man. I know what you're talking about.
Dallas, like most people don't hate the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get this straight.
Right.
I don't either. I don't.
They hate the fans.
It's the fandom that messes everything up.
They're delusional, and that's what it comes down to.
Oh, they are highly delusional.
On the LeBron
This
part.
season
Just
only
like
look. This season only piled on to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they did.
Yes.
Here it's like they. To be honest with you, I know this is gonna sound crazy. They might be detrimental to the team itself because there's so
Man,
there's so much like
man.
just they have to have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're the best. So like they have created such an expectation for that team. They have created such an expectation for that team that a team that's a good team.
Yes,
It's a good team, but that's what's
so messed up.
man.
So strong that like in a first round, like teams that couldn't get in the playoffs, like, oh man, it's a really good team that lost in the first round to a really good 49ers team. And
You know what? They lost to a very good shorthanded 49er team.
Right.
Because they were missing, I don't know, Javon Kinlaw. I don't know. They were missing a whole bunch of people. And now I'm going to have even more fun as I welcome one half of the dynamic duo of our home, the On Tap Podcast Network. I welcome Brandon Gunn, and he joins me right now. Good morning, Brandon. Great to have you.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing this post-Super Bowl Monday morning?
I'm doing great because we got all our Super Bowl talk in by saying the basics, which is, I don't know, the Rams are the world champions, and Cooper Kupp did the damn thing, and so did Matthew Stafford. Darrell Owens is on with us as well, but we've had fun for the past hour because Darrell released a statement, and I think you'll agree with it, Brandon, and it goes like this.
I love it.
Montana equals Jordan just as Brady equals LeBron.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
okay. Okay. Coming out strong.
Brandon, you've listened to this show. We now have you on it. You know how we act on this show, okay?
So before we get into dissecting that, I want to take a step back and just say welcome in person to the On Tap Podcast Network.
Thank you.
Your show, we've been fans from afar for a while, so Danny and myself, I know I'm speaking for the whole crew when I say welcome to the group, and we're much better for having you on. So,
oh man, thank you.
Man, you hit me with that hard left right out of the gate. I
mean, well, thank you. We love being part of the On Tap Podcast Network. We love being, and I love saying this, the official morning show of the On Tap Podcast Network, and I love it. Official show of the On Tap Podcast Network, as well as Real Wise Radio. Love it. Yeah. And, Danny and yourself have been so encouraging in saying, keep bringing it. We love how you bring it. And that just encourages me to, be even more real with this show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys do great work, so it's been really fun to listen to you and then kind of get to know you through Messenger, but then being on the show here and talking to you in person is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for having me on as well. In terms of your comparison that you just dropped,
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's something to be said for both of those quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because Danny and I were just chatting a little bit this morning about the game, kind of reflecting on it. And some of the traits that you see in the Montanas and the Bradys, I think Joe Burrow showed as well, even in a losing effort.
Yep.
It's one of those things that you can't teach. It's not part of a playbook. But when he gets to the sidelines and you're down, however many points you're down, and your teammates are still playing and fighting and clawing because they know that they still have a chance in that game, regardless of what the score is, there's a very minimal amount of quarterbacks in this league, and actually in my lifetime, where you just see they emanate that confidence over into their teammates. So I think you may have a third rung to that comparison in the next few years.
Dig it. Darrell, your thoughts on what Brandon just said?
I agree. Because I mean, certain quarterbacks just have a different, like swagger, I guess to be out there with the young folks. They got swagger. Burrow's got something special. I'm not gonna lie to you. Watching that game, even after the Rams score, I personally expected Joe Burrow to go down the field and find the way
and win the game
and win that game. But that's certain court, like if that was reversed and that was Stafford, I don't know if I'd have had that same confidence. I know that's crazy. Maybe that's all the years I've seen him in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And you say that, and you've seen even the 2 picks in the game, and you're like, you're having some Detroit moments. Some of it wasn't all his fault.
Yep.
But you see the picks, you're like, you didn't have to throw that ball. You didn't have to do that. With Burrow, I just feel like he's there. If he had a better offensive line last night, they win that game hands down. And it's not.
They win it easy.
They win it easily. They probably would have won by 2 touchdowns if they had a better offensive line. And that's been the problem with that team even before he got there. And for him to get this team that far with that offensive line, having 2 backups in on that starting line, it would just be a whole different dream. And I don't want to take anything away from the Rams. They,
right.
Aaron Donald, my God.
Mm-hmm. I think he finished. Did he finish with 3? I think he finished with 3 sacks in that game.
Yeah,
he tied a Super Bowl record.
Right, and I want to give my guy Cody Stewart on the network some credit because we had Legacy on Fire with Snowman. You've been on before.
Yes,
and he said on the show the other day, he's like, Aaron Donald's going to be the MVP in 3 sacks. Didn't get the MVP part right,
but he got 3 sacks right.
He got the 3 sacks right, and Cooper Kupp's amazing. I mean, that Rams team as a whole, they mortgaged their future to get this ring.
Mm-hmm. They went all in, and it paid off. It paid off. It paid off.
It paid off. So I like that part of it. But back to Mr. Gunn's thing. Hey, look, it's all Joe Burrow's going to be good. I just hope that Cincinnati doesn't blow it as an organization. We know they don't have the. We know they don't have the greatest track record on an organizational front.
Yeah, just ask Boomer Esiason.
Right. So I pray that they get the offensive line, or that should be their main target in the offseason is fixing that offensive line. Defense is actually pretty solid with the young people they got. Maybe fix Eli Apple, but other than that, they can do those things, man. I mean, the sky's the limit for that Cincinnati team.
Back to Brandon. Where do you rank the Bengals in a way too early poll for 2022?
Well, I think quarterback being the most important position in all of sports, you have to start putting them up towards the top because Joe Burrow elevated that entire team to play above themselves. And so I think you've got to put them up near the top. And this is another thing that Andy and I were chatting about this morning. The AFC is going to be a gauntlet, and that's the only thing that gives me pause for the future of the Cincinnati Bengals. You've got Patrick Mahomes. You've got Josh Allen. You've got, if Justin Herbert takes a step, next season, you've got all of these quarterbacks, and Joe Burrow included, that are at the top tier in the NFL, and that's going to make it really hard to navigate. They do have to address the offensive line, and actually going back to Darrell's point a little bit here, So Joe Burrow was releasing the ball in 2.41 seconds in last night's game.
Yeah.
It is the fastest release he's had all season long, which tells me that he knows that the offensive line is a deficiency. Mm-hmm. And if it gets into his head that he's only got 2.5 seconds, under 2.5 seconds to get the ball out of his hands, now we're having to speed up the breaks that the receivers are going to have to get out of and the top of the routes,
right?
And everything. I mean, it's a snowball effect. So I think if you could very well see them ascend to the top of the AFC if they can go into free agency, go into the draft, address that offensive line, get Joe Burrow some help, because if he even just has league average amount of time to pass that ball, now all of a sudden we're talking about Jamar Chase getting a couple more seconds or at least a half a second or a second of separation in his routes.
Yeah.
T. Higgins getting downfield. And, here we go. Now we're able to utilize these, as I say frequently on our podcast, this embarrassment of riches that they have.
Yep.
Now we're able to allow them to excel and fully get their worth out of them. So I do think that they will address that, and I do think that they'll be top 2-3 teams in the AFC next year. And also hitting on Darrell's point on Matthew Stafford versus Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has had one of the top passer ratings under pressure with that offensive line, despite that offensive line, whereas Matthew Stafford came into this game tied for the league lead in interceptions. So you have to – I agree with everything he just said, where Joe Burrow has that last, drive, and you're thinking, okay, here it is. Bengals are going to do this.
Yep.
And if the tables were flipped, Matthew Stafford may not have delivered the same. But all of that being said, Matthew Stafford had a heck of a drive to put them up and above, and it was almost un-Matthew Stafford-like.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's true. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think the Bengals will be next year.
I got them. I got them top 10 easily. I have them top 10. Brandon Gunn and Darrell Owens joining us via the Michael Scott Insurance Hotline, protecting what matters most. Hey, Michigan, you need some insurance? Then give Michael Scott a call, 810-985-3211. That's 810-985-3211. Michael Scott Insurance, protecting what matters most. There are two playoff teams that I also rank in the top 10 because I got tricked by ESPN to reading their way too early predictions. My top 10 does indeed feature the Rams and the Bengals, and it also features San Francisco. And the reason I bring that up is because everyone wants to jettison Jimmy Garoppolo and move on to the Trey Lance era. And this is all being done, in my opinion, because of flat-out peer pressure. Everybody's pressuring the 49ers to get rid of Garoppolo, and y'all seem to forget Garoppolo has 1 year left on his contract. I say let him play it out. Cole, I come to you first with that.
You know what's funny about that? It's a bit of history repeating itself because back in 1987, you had the same issue.
Yep.
Where the year before, Steve Young was brought into the fold as 49ers QB because Bill Walsh decided that, well, Joe Montana might be a little too fragile, and his downturn may come at a certain point. And I really believe those two playoff losses in back-to-back years to the Giants in the Meadowlands scared him.
Yeah.
So he wanted to have insurance, and he promised Young that he was going to start. And Montana, being the competitor he was like,
the heck with that.
I'm the quarterback of the 49ers. This chump better unseat me. And if he doesn't, he's going to be sitting, he's going to have the best seat in the house because the best quarterback in the NFL, which is me, is going to keep playing. And he did for the next 4 years. So we're having the same issue here 35 years later.
Yep.
You draft this guy in the first round because there are some health concerns about Jimmy Garoppolo. And, of course, there's also fan concerns that this guy simply cannot win games because they win in spite of him, not because of him. And you have those concerns, and now you have the scuttlebutt of, okay, which team is going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? And here we are.
Yep.
The 49ers repeating history again.
Brandon, to you, same question.
So I'm going to take a little bit of a different stance here because I think that the 49ers, in addition to some other teams, you look at the Washington football team, you look at the Denver Broncos, you look at some of these other teams, they're one quarterback away from being in Super Bowl contention, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what we're going to see this offseason is, and we've said this on our show, is you're going to see a musical chairs of quarterbacks this offseason.
I believe it.
Yeah, and so if there becomes a situation where Jimmy Garoppolo can fetch top-end value with 1 year left on his deal to a team that's ready to compete, I think if the 49ers think Trey Lance is their guy, I think they almost have to go that route, because with the draft capital that Jimmy Garoppolo could fetch this offseason, they might be able to bolster any sort of that their team has. So I think you're going to see a quarterback needy market after, one, the rookie crop coming into the league is not nearly as heralded as last season.
No.
And so with that, I think you're going to see a lot of quarterback needy teams go to the veteran route, or go the veteran route and acquire some of these guys that are more proven and can at very least manage a game, but at top end control a game. You know, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo, you've got quite a bit that are going to be hitting the market. So I think he is gone, but I don't know if it's necessarily because they're turning the page to the next guy. I think that the value just may be too good to pass up.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, because they sacrificed a lot of draft capital to get Trey Lance. And now, from the way it looks, you got the full offseason to get Trey Lance ready to repeat the success that Jimmy Garoppolo has. So I'll close my eyes and go and go into it. Darrell, let me get your thoughts on that.
As an expert in this position of, great quarterbacks, and seeing their, replacements being drafted, maybe a couple of years before, as a Packers fan, before they, maybe have wanted them to be drafted. Obviously dealing with it right now with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers, and seeing the Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre situation. My thing with Trey Lance is, that obviously the talent is there and you can see it. I would have personally, if it was me, if I was San Francisco, I probably would also hold on to Garoppolo one more year. Because I feel like Trey needs maybe one more year of that NFL
of seasoning. Yes.
And that's, after watching what I've seen from Jordan Love, I know obviously last year was kind of a little bit weird because of everything that was going on with COVID. And, now this season we actually got to see him play a couple of times. Personally, I'm not 100% sold on Mr. Love.
Right.
Unlike when we first saw Aaron, when Aaron, came in for Brett Favre when he got hurt in that Dallas game. And even though I think it was a Thursday night game, and even though that Dallas won that game, Aaron showed a lot of promise in that game. And so it's one of those things where, like, when Garoppolo went down and Trey Lance, even though it wasn't maybe the greatest, but I saw a lot of things that said, okay, he works on this a little bit more, he's going to be just fine.
Yep.
Like that's the type of thing. So to me, I would personally say, hey, if you can hold on to him one more year, then go from there.
Yeah.
But I also agree with Mr. Gunn because if you look at it, this is going to be a great year because the draft class is not the best. If you're going to capitalize on it, like, teams that desperately need that quarterback to take the next level, especially after seeing what happened last year, seeing that you can go trade for a guy maybe like Matt Stafford, who shown a lot of promise, but was in a bad situation. So now if you can go, if you're Jimmy Garoppolo and like, oh, maybe I can go to one of these teams and we can take that next step, or, under that, if you're San Francisco. But it's going to be a tough call either way. I don't think San Francisco loses either way. I think that if Jimmy's there, they will continue maybe the success they had this year. If Trey there, they may take a baby step back this year, but then next year, like year after that, flourish.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good stuff, gentlemen. Darrell Owens and Brandon Gunn joining me here on the program. And again, I say to Brandon, thank you and the rest of the team at the On Tap Podcast Network for welcoming us. It is such a thrill and an honor to be the official morning show of said network.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Like I said, keep doing the work that you guys are doing. It's been fun cutting it up with you guys after the Super Bowl.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Take care, fellas.
Take care, Brandon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandon Gunn of the On Tap Podcast Network joining us. And might I say, Darrell, it's been a thrill and an honor to have you as well, my man. It's been an honor.
Always, fellas, man. I know it's been a while, so I truly appreciate it. Cole, it's actually nice to finally get a chance to talk to you, my man. I know back and forth on the social media networks out there, so it's always a pleasure, man. I gotta have you on my show one time. I've had Snowman on multiple times, and I might have to slide you and get you on Legacy on Fire. I might have to get both of you guys.
You want to live in Tangent City? Then put both of us on there. You know that show, because Darrell had me on Legacy on Fire the week after my birthday this past summer. Mm-hmm. Only supposed to go an hour. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think maybe like an hour 30, maybe close.
It was like an hour 40. It was an hour 40 minutes before we finally got done. And before finally Darrell called a halt to everything and said, "Hey, I'm trying to keep on time here." And by that time, we were cracking up so much.
By that time, we had so much fun. I think it was a little bit over by then. But
man, it was great. It was an honor to be on Legacy on Fire. Darrell, thank you for joining me this morning. I truly, truly appreciate it. Got to have you back on very soon.
Snowman, Cole, I appreciate you, brothers. Y'all take good care of yourselves. Keep making the dream work, brother. Hey, Snowman, I love you, brother. Stay strong. You know we got your back. All right, brother.
I appreciate it. And Darrell,
look forward to the invite, Darrell.
You got to make a dream. You got to make a dream come true for me when you and I share a microphone for a baseball game.
This is something that we're gonna try to work on and make happen this off season. So this baseball season. So we're gonna figure this bad boy out, Snowman.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Darrell. Appreciate it.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You too.
You too, man.
That was absolutely a blast.
Yeah, it was.
This whole show was absolutely a blast.
Yeah, that was great. That was wonderful.
So I'll close with this. 9 of 27 is not efficient shooting, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
So why are people still lauding that ish?
Well, they're lauding it because...
Can I close with that one?
Yeah, they're lauding it because...
Darrell, and I were on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
They lauded it
because... Yeah, they lauded it because this guy... This is why I've always said...
Go with
careful. Yeah, be careful about doing these types of comparisons, because when they go ham and they say something to the effect of, they will show you, well, Jordan was 0-6 versus Bird.
Mm-hmm.
When they do stuff like that, and I would say to them, and I did say to this guy, look, I will take 0-6 versus Bird. I'll take the 2 sweeps that he had against the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the 3 butt whoopings that he took to the Pistons in back-to-back years. You know why? Because I was screen scoreboard on all of them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And they lose sight of the focus of, all right, so yeah, he was 9-27, but he scored 27 points. But the thing is, it was an L.
Big ass L.
He had a 30-point output in another game, which was an L. Not only an L, it was a 16-point loss L. But people were saying, well, he scored 30. Well, if the effort is there, but it doesn't seem to permeate throughout your whole team, does that mean he's as great as you say he is? I think not.
Can I answer that in 2 words?
Sure.
Oh, no, I'll put it in a full sentence, as my wife would say. Hell to the no.
Oh, Lord. Now I got that song in my head. But
hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no.
Wow. Now I got the song in my head.
It's gonna stay in your head when we talk LeBron James on Wednesday. Because I'm gonna find that song. I'm gonna find that song, bitch, and we're gonna use it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. It's ridiculous, man.
It is. It's
ridiculous.
Oh, by the way, LeBron got outplayed by Klay Thompson.
16 in the fourth. I mean, just so I thought he was supposed to lose a step. What happened to that?
Oh, what? Klay Thompson losing a step?
Klay Thompson. Yeah, I thought Klay Thompson was to lose a step. What happened?
Bullshit.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Klay Thompson is back. Let me repeat that. Klay Thompson is back. People don't want to hear that, though.
No, they don't.
People don't want to hear that, though.
And I'm not a Warriors fan, but I love to see it. I love to see it. I love to hear it. I love to see it.
You know what? I shouldn't drop this, but I'm going to. Preview for tomorrow includes a day early one of these.
In a world where logic and sense flies completely out the window, while purple and yellow glasses are donned, rises a figure who encourages ridiculous, undying loyalty.
That's for tomorrow. It's going. I got 3 of them up my sleeve this week.
Oh wow!
All from Saturday. I got 3 of them. I got 3 of them up my sleeve.
So you gearing up? You really gearing up for NBA All-Star Weekend?
You damn Skippy. Because I ain't seen a damn good NBA All-Star game since 1988. Can I throw that out there?
Only one.
This is All-Star week. This is All-Star Weekend.
There's only been 2 since then, but yeah.
And your 2 are
92 and 2003.
Yes and yes. Magic Johnson, and then Michael Jordan hitting the fadeaway, and I think it was Jermaine O'Neal committing a stupid foul.
Although 2001 is pretty good too, but yeah.
Yeah, 2001 in Washington or Philadelphia? Washington.
It was Washington.
And I still think they should be called the Bullets. Dag nabbit. Not only that, I still think the Oklahoma City Thunder should be disbanded and sent home. And you know where home is. I don't have to say it.
They should do something with Clay Bennett too, and lying to the Seattle people,
and kick his ass out of the league. Oh boy. Tomorrow's schedule: Chris B. Williams, Hear Chris Speak, and Robert Cobb from The Inscriber magazine. Jay Spivey will join me also. Didn't get a chance to get him in today. But can we just... The 2011 All-Star Game sucked ass in Los Angeles. I think that's how we're going to roll tomorrow, discussing All-Star Games. Good, bad, and ugly.
Okay. We can do that.
Because I got messed up ugly. I'm editing a line from Steven Seagal that I've watched a lot recently. I got messed up ugly with some of the All-Star games I've seen over the years. 89 in Houston was a good one because it was in the Astrodome. 92 in Orlando, and then 2003, I believe, in Atlanta.
Yeah, it was in Atlanta. Yeah.
That should have ended with a fadeaway in overtime. And I hate you, Jermaine O'Neal, even though you spent time with the Warriors because of that stupid ass foul. I'm sorry. I don't really hate Jermaine O'Neal. I really don't. I'm just having funny because he ruined an iconic moment. And instead of Jordan getting the MVP, it was a well-deserved Kevin Garnett who got it.
Right.
Okay, I'll be nice. Actually, I don't want to. You can advertise with us by calling 919-247-3622 or dropping an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. That's snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. I may have as many as 3 bronzexual confessions this week, all from Saturday.
Wow.
And even given the fact this is NBA All-Star Weekend, heading into this weekend. So you get the Super Bowl that we wanted, and then the next week we get ruined by the All-Star game. Oops, did I say that? Because you know what the introductions are going to be like.
Oh, God, the introduction's going to probably be 30 minutes long in its own right. Like
you know what the introductions are going to be like? It's like you said, it's like a damn concert. What? And they got to put the set away that they put up there. Okay?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They got to put the set away that they put up there. I borrow from you. Good Lord, I'm about to throw up. See,
well,
you save your bronzexual confessions for Wednesday.
Oh, I
and
will.
Very, very good timing. But see, knowing what week this is, I'm not going to be able to help it. I'm going to be high on coffee, drunk on water, and bronzexual confessions are going to come out of my ears.
Oh, man.
Are we going to slip other subjects in? Yes, like James Harden's going to ruin Joel Embiid. Oops.
Wow.
That didn't just come out aloud, did it? And that's how we started the show this morning. What did you put in your caption? Somebody get their man, please.
Yeah. Yeah. From the Get Your Mans department.
From the Get Your Mans department.
Somebody get your mans.
Oh, you've heard that too, huh?
Yes. Get your mans.
Have you had that? Have you had that directed toward you? I certainly have.
Oh yeah, I have. I have.
Say something factual about MJ, and I get cries of somebody get your mans. For what? I said what I said, and I mean every word of it. What's the freaking problem?
Right.
And what makes it so bad is that they continue. May I say it truthfully?
Please, sir.
What makes it so bad in these sports debates on whatever social media you use is that these black men are continuing to use ignorant, stupid, back-ass word sentences. Did I lie anywhere?
You mean like LeBron's a part of the greatest to ever play, and they spell apart as in A with no space, P-A-R-T?
That would be it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be it.
Yeah.
Get your man's department.
Get your man. Yeah, get your man.
Somebody get your man.
Get your man.
Somebody get their mans. Will you speak English, please? Golly,
yes.
My wife was a professor at Indiana State for 5 years.
And it's not hard to say, yeah, what's up with your friend? Or what's wrong with your friend? No, get your mans. All right. Get
your mans. I'd like to sock the person dead in the jaw who created that. And it's part of the lexicon.
Yep.
It's part of the lexicon. And it's nerve-wracking.
Get your man.
What are some other ignorant phrases? But you know what? Okay, we've run out of time. Thank God. I'll save them all for tomorrow. But one of the things we're going to discuss tomorrow, since it's Black History Month, why don't black men make history and use complete sentences?
Oh, you mean actually use subject verb agreements?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Yes. Especially when you talk sports. This is a fellow who's done play-by-play for 25 years. Well, 24 complete years. When I get back in the booth this fall, I will finally celebrate year number 25, cancer-free, totally healthy, and a health update before we go. I'm going to see my oncologist in Indianapolis on the 21st.
Awesome.
Because these folks are saying, F radiation, we got another idea, and we want to be aggressive in removing this cancer from you.
Awesome. And you don't have to do radiation.